Numbers 4, 5, and 6 in our free agency countdown. Or count up. Maybe it's count up. JT Compher, Michael Bunting, Ryan Graves coming up on the Locked On Sabres podcast.
Your Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thanks for making Locked On Sabres your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Check us out on our YouTube channel. Sneaky Joe DiBiase at Sneaky Joe Sports. To follow me on Twitter at Locked On Sabres for the podcast account. And of course, again, check out our YouTube channel. And as I am looking at the stream on our YouTube channel, I am recognizing this pink shirt I'm wearing comes off a lot more neon-y. Is that a word? Brighter on the stream than otherwise. So I apologize if I'm burning your eyes out with this shirt I'm wearing. But we got some good stuff to get to on today's show. Free agency count up. I'm rolling with it. Free agency count up. 4, 5, and 6 on our list today. This is from Frank Saravelli, Daily Faceoff. We're working our way through the top free agents that are going to be available in less than a month to the Buffalo Sabres, including one player today that is a former Sabre draft pick. JT Compher will be number 4. Michael Bunting of the Toronto Maple Leafs, number 5. Ryan Graves, defenseman of the New Jersey Devils, number 6. I will score them 1 through 10. If you missed our last episode, be sure to check it out. Dmitry Orlov, Damon Severson, and Tyler Bertuzzi. Not in that order. Those 3 players I broke down. Damon Severson, an 8.3 out of 10 is the score to beat for my free agency scores. Personal opinion, you could throw me your score if you like, with all the components broken down, contract, age, stats, advanced stats sometimes, the role and the fit on the Sabres as well. And fit will be an interesting question with these players today, because I think all 3 of these players are, provably good in different ways, but how do they fit on this Sabres team? So we'll get to that coming up on the Locked On Sabres podcast. And let's kick it right off with number 4 on our list, and that's Finn. If you're watching the stream, apparently Finn is jumping in at number 4. Hi, buddy. He's going to join us, I guess, on the stream for at least the JT Compher portion of today's show. 28 years old, JT Compher, the 35th overall pick of the Buffalo Sabres in 2013. That was a second-round pick, and he was made a part of the Ryan O'Reilly trade to Colorado, the first Ryan O'Reilly trade. Sabres got blown out of the water in the Blues trade with the O'Reilly deal. Originally, Tage Thompson developed into an amazing player, so that trade worked out. What about Colorado? Remember back to that trade. Compher goes to Colorado. He really ends up being the best part of the trade and really not even close. Compher has played 423 games for the Avalanche, 194 points. They won the Stanley Cup. What do you do in those playoffs? 20 games, 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points. He played his role, I guess. Did well enough. But the other piece is Mikhail Grigorenko was out of the league in a couple of years, went to the KHL. Nikita Zadorov played 4 or 5 years for Colorado, had some seasons, was a second, third pair defenseman, but nothing spectacular. The draft pick didn't develop into anything. Compher was the big piece they got back. So honestly, of the 2 Ryan O'Reilly trades, the Sabres did better against the Blues than the Avalanche did against the Sabres. This is a nice player. Compher's a nice player, and he's not that old, 28 years old. The contract projection from Frank Saravelli at Daily Faceoff for Compher, 5 years, $5.3 million per year, so that would take him through to 33 years old then over the next 5 years. Not that bad. That's not that bad at all. Now, what about some of these numbers for Compher, and then how would he fit with the Sabres? Cap-wise, I think it's fine, especially with the term. Compher this season, 17 goals, played all 82 games, 17 goals, 35 assists for 52 points. Those numbers are inflated. There were some games missed by Nathan MacKinnon, and we saw Compher's ice time skyrocket. He had never averaged 17 and a half minutes a night. 17:29 was the most minutes per night he had ever averaged. That was in his third season back in 2019. This past year, he averaged 20-32. 20 and a half minutes a night. He beat his career high in average time on ice by more than 3 minutes. So, yeah, it's no wonder that his career high in points came with 52. He had never had more than 33 points. To me, this player, we have 400 games that show what he is. He's a defensive forward that can contribute offensively, but he is a third line center. This is a third line center, which is fine. But do the Sabres need that? Now, they're a little bit deeper into his game. He's a defensive forward at 5-on-5. He's not as good on the penalty kill as you might think. He's not a great penalty killer. And the Sabres are going to be searching for that. What he is great at, faceoffs. That's another area the Sabres need a guy. They don't really have a faceoff specialist. And you heard me on Cody Eakin a couple years ago, Vladimir Sabatka before that. I cannot stand the faceoff specialist that can't play the rest of the game. And that's not Compher for me. Compher is a face-off guy, 48% for his career. He had 51% a couple years ago, 48.8 this last year. He's actually got better as the career's gone on. He could play the rest of the game and do it well. So I think 5-on-5, this idea kind of fits. But here's the thing for me. I don't think Compher makes sense for the Sabres unless they trade Peyton Krebs or Casey Middlestat. If they want to trade one of those two guys for a goaltender, if they want to trade one of those two guys for a top 4 defenseman, then I kind of get it. He would be your third line center behind Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins. I just don't think that without a trade like that, this idea fits all that much. The penalty killing component is not there, but you do have the defensive ability at 5-on-5, and you do have the faceoffs. So it's not my least favorite idea. I'm going to give it a higher score than Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm going to give it a nice round 5.0 on my free agency score. So well below Damon Severson. He is a 5.0 that is above, though, again, where I had Tyler Bertuzzi. JT Compher, former Sabre draft pick, who will be a free agent on July 1st. Next up, Michael Bunting, number 5 on our list, is coming up on the Locked On Sabres podcast with Joe DiBiase. We are presented by Game Time. Football season's coming. You could get tickets out in advance. One of the perks of Game Time, though, is you don't need to get your tickets in advance. You might be looking at, Bills tickets right now for the season, or Sabre tickets. Sabre tickets wouldn't be out yet, but Bills tickets for the season right now, and thinking, well, I could get them now, but with Game Time, you don't have to worry about it. Hell, you can wait until you are tailgating for the game you want to go to and wait to buy your tickets then. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, for baseball, basketball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Get Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Get images of your seat before you buy them. That's my favorite perk. You know exactly what you're going to be looking at. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps, and you're all set. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Sneaky Joe DiBiase back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast, our free agency count up, number 5 on our count up. By the way, at Sneaky Joe Sports, at Locked On Sabres, if you were looking to share your opinion on any of these guys. Michael Bunting is next up. A guy that's gotten into it with the Sabres a little bit. Remember at the Heritage Classic in Hamilton, Bunting and Dylan Cousins got into it after Austin Matthews tried to murder Dahlin, and then Cousins crushed Matthews over the middle, and then Cousins and Bunting started wrestling around and yelling at each other on the ice. It's a tough-nosed guy, and a player that I think Sabre fans would like, Michael Bunting. He would fit that toughness element, that grind element that some fans would want, while also being a really strong player. Bunting, before I get into anything on him, this guy's a reputation for diving. He is a diver, which is a weird combination of, well, he's a pretty grimy guy. He's a tough-nosed guy. He fits in with the top 6 star Leaf guys really well, but he is a diver. The guy is one of the biggest divers in hockey. 27 years old, Last year with the Maple Leafs, 23 goals, 26 assists for 49 points. That it was a down year from his previous season, 2021-22 with the Leafs. Bunting had 23 goals, 40 assists for 63 points. Now, again, he's going to be seeing bigger numbers when he's playing with the likes of Austin Matthews and John Tavares and Willie Nylander and Mitch Marner. He's always playing with those guys in the top 6. So his numbers are going to be inflated because of that. But he could do that here. Maybe not. My question is, would Bunting get top 6 minutes? Would he get to play with a Cousins or a Thompson? Because I could see him putting up those numbers with Thompson or Cousins. But don't we already know the wingers for those guys? Peterka, Quinn, Skinner, Tuck. I don't know that there's room for Bunting if they were to sign him for that top 6. I'd love him on the third line. I just wonder if he would be worth his value. And what is his value? Frank Saravelli, 5 years, $5.25 million for Michael Bunting. At 27 years old, that's not bad. You take him to age 32. That's not bad at all. Here's some other numbers, though, on Bunting. From our guys at Andy and Rono. Percentile breakdown of their numbers. He's a 60th percentile offensive player, a 52 percentile transition player, and a 48% defensive player. He does not penalty kill. Didn't even play enough minutes to qualify on that percentile list. So doesn't play doesn't penalty kill. He's a fine defensive player. And again, is he reliant on Leafs top players? My wonder is he some replica of Zach Hyman? Because I thought the same thing about Zach Hyman. A finisher, a physical guy, the riding shotgun with Matthews, riding shotgun with Tavares. And I'm going to be honest, when Zach Hyman went to Edmonton, I thought if he's not playing with McDavid, that's not going to work. To be fair, he's played with McDavid and Draisaitl, which I guess I should have saw coming. And that's lived up to the hype. Hyman in Edmonton. Hyman goes to the Oilers. Last year had 36 goals and 83 points. Again, it's easy to do that with McDavid and Draisaitl. Would Bunting have that type of role here with Tage Thompson? I could see Bunting scoring 25 goals with Tage Thompson or with Cousins, but I just am not confident he'd play there. So because his role and his spot in the lineup that would fit for him is not really open in Buffalo, I don't think this really fits. And you're going to hear me say that with a lot of forwards, but I like this idea more than I like JT Compher, and I like this idea more than I like Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm going to put Michael Bunting at a 5.1. Only one notch above. I'm going to price this right it with Compher, but a 5.1 because I think he gives you some elements of what you're looking for. I think the age is as good as you're going to get. UFA at 27 years old, that's as good as you're ever going to get on a 5-year deal. So the contract, I don't actually mind at all. So I like the contract. I do like the player. I like some aspects of what he would provide for the Sabres. The thing I don't like is I just don't know where he'd play in the Sabres lineup. I don't know. Maybe he replaced Tyson Jost with Casey Middlestat, and that could work, Middlestat and Bunting. And I've got him as my top forward, but not going higher than a 5.1. Next up, Ryan Graves, defenseman for the New Jersey Devils. We'll break him down coming up on the Locked On Sabres podcast. We are brought to you by Bird Dogs. I love Bird Dogs so much. I'm an avid golfer, and golf joggers is the way to go these days. And I don't even wear khaki pants anymore. I don't even want to wear jeans. I don't really wear jeans anymore. Golf joggers have replaced all my pants pretty much. Whenever I can get away with it, I'm doing golf joggers. I'm going on a cruise and they have fancy dinner night. I'm bringing golf joggers. That's what I'm doing. And Bird Dogs has the best golf joggers, and not just golf joggers, but khaki shorts. Bird Dogs makes you look good. Bird Dogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Bird Dogs uses anti-stink, sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL. Enter the promo code LockedOnNHL for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise. Final segment here in the Locked On Sabres podcast with Joe DiBiase, our free agency count up. Number 6 on our list. We are back on the blue line for this one. Ryan Graves of the New Jersey Devils. I would say a pretty popular idea on Sabres Twitter for the Sabres that they would bring in as a second pair guy. It's what we're all looking for, right? A second pair defenseman to partner up with Owen Power. Now, Ryan Graves is big, 6'5", 220. I've said I want a Samuelsson clone. By size, you're getting a Samuelsson clone here. 28 years old. The projected contract from Daily Faceoff, 5 years, $5.1 million. 8 goals, 18 assists, 26 points last year. Here's the way I see Ryan Graves, though, and here's why he's not quite worth that contract to me. I think Ryan Graves is an incredible third-pair defenseman. Not so great second-pair defenseman. But also, I think even while the Sabres, I think, can do better and should do better than Ryan Graves for their Owen Power partner, I do see him as an upgrade. I would see him as an upgrade over Henry Jokiharju, certainly over guys like Jacob Bryson and over Ilya Lyubushkin and Riley Stillman. I think Graves is an upgrade. Is he enough of an upgrade to pay 5 years, $5.1 million to take him up to age 33? That I might lean towards no on. Now, he's also a left shot defenseman. You know, that's not going to be perfect. You might not get your hands on a right shot defenseman. That might just be the nature of the situation where the Sabres are going to have 4 left shot guys in their top 4 defensemen. And Graves would, be a part of that as well. But a nice partner for Power. Some of the numbers on Ryan Graves from Andy and Rono. 79th percentile offensive player, including a 88th percentile for point production. He gets points per his situation better than most. Transition game. He's a good neutral zone defenseman. 72% shot contribution, 52 percentile high danger chances, 47th percentile possession exits. Like pretty solid all the way around. Bad at carries. Not a good puck carrier. And then defense. 50th percentile. Okay, that's second best so far. Only Severson's topped him among the 4 defensemen that we've broke down. I guess he's only the third. He's the third defenseman we broke down. Denials, he's the 89th percentile. So he's very strong at stopping you from getting into the zone. And one other thing on Graves, and this is what really tanks his score for me, because I want the Sabres to find an elite penalty killer. 19th percentile for penalty killing. Nope. That tanks his score for me. But he plays the right position. He would be an upgrade. And for that, and because he's 28 and a 5-year deal, you can do worse when it comes to age and contract, like Dmitry Orlov, for instance. I'm going to give him a higher score than Dmitry Orlov. I'm going to give Ryan Graves a 6.5 on my free agency score. Much lower than Damon Severson, but the second highest score I've given out because I do think he would be an upgrade, and he's 4 years younger than Dmitry Orlov. So I don't mind this idea for the Sabres at all. Ryan Graves currently of the New Jersey Devils. Well, that's going to do it for us today on the Locked On Sabres podcast. We continue to break down these free agents with July 1st getting closer and closer every day. So we've got through 6 names. Next up on our show, on our count up, 7, 8, and 9. And this one is going to be maybe one of the most interesting and fun episodes while also being one of the least realistic, I think. Alex Killorn. Okay, that's a name. We can talk about Alex Killorn. And then 2 names that Sabre fans know very well that I think will be very interesting to talk about, and mostly because I don't see either one of them happening at all. But we're going to talk about them because we're going through this list and they're next. Number 8, Patrick Kane, and number 9, Ryan O'Reilly. So next up for you everydayers, Alex Killorn, Patrick Kane, and Ryan O'Reilly on our free agency count up. That's next on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next time here on Locked On Sabres.